Hello everyone, welcome to the Longship Bloodbowl League, Week 1. I am your guide and mentor, William the Sniveling Coward, and I will be walking you through the highlights of the week. The first game this week was Abtruse Mongoose, coached by Moose, versus the Seattle Kraken, coached by Indy Kylo. The second game was Pepsi's Better, coached by Dr. Pepsi, versus the Sunny Friends, coached by Shriveling Fire. The third game was the Loot Hoarders, coached by ET3 Stooge, versus the Plains Chargers, coached by Adun007. And the last game of the week was the Field Mice, coached by Robin Klassen, versus the Word Mines, coached by Winston. Without any further ado, let's get straight into the games. The first match of the week was the Underworld Denizen team, known as the Abtruse Mongoose, versus the Bretonian team of the Seattle Kraken. The Seattle Kraken started with the ball and they started aggressive, clashing with Abtruse Mongoose on the line of scrimmage. Players from both teams immediately collapsed on the ball and the Kraken's cage disintegrated. The Kraken was so excited by the melee, they lost control of the ball and a sneaky Skaven player managed to run it in for the first touchdown of the game. Seattle tried to counter by rushing the ball down the field, but were unable to score before the half came to a close. Upon receiving the ball in the second half, Abtruse Mongoose pushed it straight into the line of scrimmage and straight into another melee. Seattle welcomed the bloodbath, but Abtruse Mongoose snuck a play around the line and managed to get the ball right next to the end zone. Seattle did manage to knock the ball loose, but had lost so many players in the melee on the line, they weren't able to properly play the ball, and even though the Underworld Denizens also lost many players to the melee, they secured ball control, the touchdown, and the win. Despite the 2-0 scoreline, it's arguable that Abtruse Mongoose really lost the game in the long run. 2 goblins will be missing the next game, crippling their ability to play the ball and forcing them to rely on substitutes. But due to the Kraken conceding, they do walk away with 17 star player points, which will help develop the team. Even though Seattle did concede the game, no damage was done to their team whatsoever, but they also failed to get many star player points, only walking away with 3 points. They'll have to knuckle down and develop their players to stay competitive in the long run. The next match of the week was the Human Pepsi's Better team versus the Dark Elf team known as the Sunny Friends. The Sunny Friends started with a ball, but Pepsi's Better were eager to change that. The Humans collapsed quickly on the Dark Elves, but a few players were left unguarded, and a pass led to the first touchdown for the Elves. When the Humans got the ball, a touchback would allow them to start with it on their front lines. The ball was rushed into the Dark Elf half of the field, but the Sunny Friends managed to take down the runner and get ball control. Pepsi's Better formed a tight cage around the Dark Elves close to the sidelines, but once again the ball was passed to a small elf contingent on the opposite side of the field, and the Dark Elves scored in the last seconds of the half, making the game 2-0 Sunny Friends. Once Pepsi's Better had the ball secured and the next half was started, they pushed it into the line of scrimmage, where after a brawl, the Sunny Friends recovered the ball and ran up the side of the field for the third touchdown, securing the final scoreline of 3-0. The novice coach of Pepsi's Better was thrown straight into deep water, facing the returning champion coach in their very first game of the league. Still, they put up a heroic fight, and had some rules gone differently, the scoreline could have reflected a very different game. The Humans walk away with a respectable 6 star player points, and the Dark Elves walk away with 19, the highest total for the week. The third match of the week was the High Elf Loot Hoarders versus the Necromantic Plains Chargers. After a small riot, the High Elf team seemed to start off strong, splitting the team in half along the Necromantic team's flanks. But on their very first turn, a Necromantic Wight killed off a High Elf catcher and turned the catcher into a zombie. The High Elves recovered and managed to get the ball runner on a breakaway, but before the runner could score, another High Elf tripped and landed on his head, breaking his neck and killing him instantly. The High Elves finished the drive with a touchdown, but losing 2 players so early in the match did them no favors. After a touchback, the Necromantic team stormed down the field, injuring another High Elf and scoring to even the score at 1-1. The Loot Hoarders faced a losing battle, only able to field 8 players against a full Necromantic team of 11. Another riot broke out, which gained the High Elves valuable time, but with so few players on the field, the Necromantic team quickly scored another touchdown, making the score 1-2 Plains Chargers. The Hoarders attempted to maneuver around the overwhelming Necromantic threat, but the Plains Chargers managed to overrun the offense, take control of the ball, and score, locking out the game at 1-3 Chargers. While the Necromantic team did play well, what really lost the High Elves the game was losing so many players so early in the match. Had they not suffered 2 deaths and an injury, the game could have gone either way, but when your players are that unlucky or clumsy, it's hard to mount any sort of opposition. Still, the High Elves managed to walk away with 11 star player points, which is nothing to sneeze at, and should help them rebuild their team moving into the season. The Plains Chargers, on the other hand, managed to secure a solid 18 star player points, including 8 points on the Ghoul, the only player who managed to level up in the first week of the season. The last match of the week was the Halfling team, the Field Mice, versus another Underworld Denizen team known as the Word Mines. This match was the most violent match of the week by far. The Underworld Denizen and Halfling teams fought hard on the line of scrimmage and stayed there for most of the first half. Neither team managed to score, but both teams inflicted heavy casualties. At the end of the first half, the Field Mice had 1 injury and 2 players knocked out, while the Word Mines had 2 injuries and 2 players knocked out of their own. The second half started disastrously for the Halflings, who suffered 4 stuns straight off the bat due to fans invading the pitch, compared to the Underworld Denizens only suffering 2 stuns. Despite the Field Mice kicking the snot out of the Word Mines in the line of scrimmage, including inflicting 2 more injuries, a lack of ball control led to the only touchdown of the game, allowing the Word Mines to take it 1-0. This was the bloodiest match of the entire week by a country mile. The most armor breaks that any other game had was Abtruse Mongoose versus the Seattle Kraken, which had 15. The Field Mice secured 17 armor breaks alone, scoring 4 injuries on the Word Mines. But a heavy reliance on mercenary star players netted the Halfling team a meager 4 star player points. Not that it really hurts the Halflings, who will be relying on mercenaries to do a lot of the heavy lifting throughout the season. The Word Mines scored 12 star player points, and of those 4 injuries, only 1 was serious, and all it caused was a goblin to miss the next game. With their deep bench, the Word Mines will hardly hurt from losing 1 goblin temporarily. Thank you for joining me. I have been William the Sniveling Coward, and this has been Week 1 of the Longship Bloodbowl League. Be sure to join us next week when the Seattle Kraken play the Word Mines, the Field Mice play the Plains Chargers, the Loot Hoarders play the Sunny Fens, and Pepsi's Better plays Abtruse Mongoose. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you here next week.